Welcome to the Sleepy Tavern. Sit down, have a drink, and listen to our little ramblings. I'm Zibble, the guy who stabs his friends alive.
I'm Doc, the harbinger of the jelly cubes.
I'm Dingus, SIMP squirrels in my pants.
On today's menu, story creation.
Uh,
So, welcome back.
Welcome back.
Episode 4.
Hi.
Yes.
Episode 4, not bad.
Not bad. Yes.
So, story creation is quite the interesting topic, because,
Um, I have a couple stories.
yeah,
I made. I would like to say that I DM the most campaigns in this club right now. They're currently active.
yeah, it's got
Yes.
two.
Yes.
Two.
Double DMs.
And,
Double DMs. Sorry, I had to say it.
yeah, and, when it comes to story creation, you got to really think about like all the major story beats. You gotta like you have so you have to like create the important characters, what those characters are going to do, how they're going to go from one plot point to the next, and it's a lot of thinking.
My favorite.
DM
My favorite part about
DMs
story
have to
making.
have a big brain moment.
Yeah, DMs are gonna be a
So
big brain moment. Yeah, my favorite part about story making is like figuring out the character development for my players. So for the campaign Dingus is in, the Lost Mines of Fandelver, I have character arcs for all my players, and like okay, so there are parts I plan right like ahead of time. There are also parts that seem like wait this works, and it's just straight up improvise on the spot.
mhm.
I won't say any spoilers for my campaign because I know my players are listening.
Yeah, so uh, with story creation, obviously, like it's very difficult. That's why they have starting campaigns. Like
Yeah.
they have all these pre-made campaigns so that it's easier for you to like just find a story and just go straight into it.
Yeah.
And with those, you can do a little bit. It's easy. I would say it's harder to improvise, mostly because the story is already written out for you. But obviously you don't have to do as much work. It's just a bit more improvising to make sure that things are adjusted correctly for
Yeah.
the story. With with your own stories, if something goes differently than you expected, you might have to change everything. So in certain
There's a lot of
circumstances,
retconning, yeah.
yeah, adjusting might be hard, but overall, just creating the story from scratch is the most difficult.
I think really the hardest part when it comes to making a story for a campaign is like the world is like if you want to add in like world building for your campaign. Cuz like
Oh yeah, absolutely.
cuz your players could do something or have something in their backstory that they didn't tell you or like they left out or just added in that kind of contradicts to what the story you're having. So you had to
Yeah.
like
So
rewrite
you got
everything.
yeah, that means that's why you got to really like make sure you cover all your bases with the players. Make sure that you communicate with them and make sure that all of their story fits in perfectly with your story.
I actually have like I actually have something an example for that. So for my Lost Mines of Fandelver campaign, one of my players, we'll call him Osiris. I think we've talked about him before. Um, at first, I had like this whole plan for his character arc, right? And for the entire story afterwards. But then he told me he wanted to also play another character, and like we've talked about this before, like just offline, like we don't really like playing two characters at the same time, right? Because like it's
Yeah,
just tedious.
yeah. At a certain point, we realized that hey, we're still very new to D&D.
Yeah,
Playing two characters is very difficult, even for experienced players.
we won't
So
say that. Like we didn't say that we're not gonna let you do it. It's like we really don't recommend you do it.
yeah, it's just the reason why is because like one, it's awkward for the individual player because they have to manage two characters at once.
And for
And
the
if these
DM,
two
because he has no
characters,
idea who you're
yeah,
talking to. So
yeah,
he made another
and if
character, and
and if
her
these
name
two,
was Elaine. Oh, okay. You go
the-
first.
sorry, is like if so like all again. You can play two characters if you want. We don't recommend it, and the reason why is like one, the characters it's difficult for them to
Yeah.
or for the individual player, the problems are that one, they always have to specify which character is talking. Two, they sometimes if the two characters are connected with each other, or if they have to have like sort of like a moment or anything, it's awkward for the player because they have to role play two characters talking to each other, which dungeon masters they have to do sometimes, but like with the player, they have to do it all the time. If
It gets tedious,
play two characters.
and a lot of the times the dungeon master just has like one-off characters too. That it just makes things easier.
Yeah, another thing is that it can get annoying sometimes just because the players has two characters. That means that they have that they're doing a lot of work. They're like talking constantly. They have to like manage both characters, and that can take away from some of the time that the other players might
Yeah.
want to have like their little moments.
I think because okay, one of my players, we'll call her Breezy. She used to have two characters for this other campaign I'm DMing, Chrono Crisis, and she just like came up to me one day and said, Can you like kill one of my characters?" That's why you don't see her. That's why you don't see her anymore. Zoo, Akasha.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Rest in peace.
You told me
Yeah.
before.
Yeah. Anyways, back to what I was saying. So he made a character. Her name was Elaine. Well, her name is still Elaine because she's still alive, luckily. And it kind of like made things a little bit weird, but not too weird. To the story, it's like, are you sure you want to do that? But the fact that Elaine exists now, it makes things a lot easier for his story because very recently she was revealed to be the daughter of Loki, and that made things like a lot more interesting in the campaign. I think, in my eyes, it makes things a lot more interesting. What do you think, Zoo? You were there for that.
I will say that that the reveal was certainly like it was out of nowhere. I mean, I know that like
It was out of nowhere, yeah.
yeah, I do know that like yeah, you're big into your mythology, but like to have one of the players be uh, the son or the related to a god, especially since like I do. So like Elaine's a shifter,
Yeah,
a spider
she's-
shifter to be
yeah.
specifically. So like I would spider. I mean, I guess that could be viewed as like tricksterish, but like I think
No,
that
because I did my
obviously
research. He's also the god of spiders, but that's not the point. The point, like, being is like, it kind of adds this kind of. It gives a lot more character development than I think to Elaine because
well,
it's kind of like
yeah,
a questioning of self. Like, I'm the daughter of Loki. What does that mean for me and for my friends? And if it kind of just like gives us new perspective on Elaine, right?
yeah.
I've been
I
hitting it
mean,
for a
yeah,
while that
you,
she was the daughter of Loki though.
yeah. You said there's like there's not. I mean, yeah. I know it's not the point, but like, yeah, it's just like still out of nowhere for me. Like, because
Actually,
like
like
you said,
yeah, her spider lineage though it hints to more stuff that'll be revealed tomorrow. I'm kidding now.
uh, okay.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, in the first half.
Not gonna lie. Yeah. I just saying like it just helps a lot sometimes to like revise your story because it won't go the way you want it at first. It definitely didn't for me. And look where I am now.
Yeah.
What about you, Zoo? Because you've revised like your whole Lost Tankard thing.
So, well, yeah. Okay, so if you've listened in before on like the first episode, you would know that the very first campaign that I DM'd was a homebrew campaign called Lost Tankard. It was pretty cool in my opinion. But it was really
cool.
messy. It was cool, but it was messy, and I had to rewrite that whole story, just so like because some people left, some people didn't like their character, so I just decided, hey, let's restart this. I could improve. I've learned a little. I'll improve for the next campaign, make it even better.
Yes.
And the original story. There was the original story. There was a character named Pratt. He was like the player's sort of NPC guide. He was like their guidance character. He would like lead them to the different areas. And my plan was that Pratt, because there's another group in.
Yeah.
There's another enemy group.
Rising Rose.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, the Rising Roses. So my whole thing was like, okay, so there's three groups. There's the players group. There's
the Crown's Guard group.
Pratt. There's Pratt. There's the players. There's Pratt. There's the Rising Roses, and there's the Servant Society. So the Servant Society is a bad guy.
I'm kidding.
And for a while, I tried to make it the players believe that the Rising Roses were with the Servant Society, and Pratt was on the players' side. When in reality, Pratt was brainwashed into being on the Servant side, and the Rising Roses are on the good side. But like because Pratt's like a little tricky little bastard, he like framed it in a way that made the Rising Roses look bad. So he was basically using the players in order to collect all the items needed for a certain machine, and then he would either use those parts to like make the machine, but then like Kraft didn't. So the goal of the campaign was to create a machine that would help him defeat the Servant Society. And when Pratt would use the players to collect all of those and either like build a machine to help the Servant Society instead of hinder them, or just like destroy all the pieces or something.
Look, I have a question. Like, now that I'm rehearing the whole plot now, is this, I don't know why, but the fact that the working class servants rising up against the higher class, it sounds a bit like communism. Are you trying to tell us something here, Zoo?
We the working class must rise up against the well-fed bourgeoisie.
Shut up.
We must take back the means of production.
Get out of here with that AP Hug shit. Whatever it was.
Hey, damn. AP Hug? It's not AP Hug, it's, what was it? Advanced, World History.
Whatever it
Fool.
is.
Or, A-Push, or
I think it was
Hush,
A-Push.
whatever, who cares?
Whatever.
Who cares? It's history.
Fucking. Anyways.
Woo!
Yeah, I do have to admit the story for Lost Tanger did get really convoluted at one point, to the fact, like, okay, when was it Shuther? I think it was Shuther who told us. When Shuther explained the whole thing, I got a little bit confused and it blacked out for a second. So I was not listening at all.
Okay, so here's the thing. The whole thing I said before about like Pratt secretly being the bad guy and the Rising Roses secretly being the good guys, that was the plan. But then the players on one of the islands managed to capture one of their members, and like they interrogated him a little. They managed to make him spill, and during the interrogation, they realized, hey, they're not the bad guys. Whoops.
Well.
And after that, Pratt disappeared. I don't know,
Never saw him again.
For tension, I guess. Tension. Like, where could he be?
But here's the question. Here's the question. Was Twitch in on it too, or was he just chilling? Or was he just vibing?
It's brainwashing. So I'm gonna say no. He wasn't vibing. He was. Because Pratt was brainwashed. I mean, like, yeah, it's a. As much as we love Twitch, yeah, he's a stupid lizard.
How dare you? I've had conversations with him.
Yeah, I know. It proves what your intelligence is too.
you?
Boom, roasted.
First of all, how dare
Boom,
you? Second of all, I'm the
roasted.
one. I'm the one who does roasting in the party. I am the fire genasi after all.
I'm a finna gonna roast you.
What at what
Here.
point? At what point did you think you had to like rewrite the story?
Um, well, so you know that one character that was gonna be, that the character that the party interrogated, and then he kind of like died.
Oh,
So,
Azul. Azul. What his name was?
oh yeah, yeah,
Oh, is it
yeah,
because? Is it because that? Is it because when Sassy killed him? That's when you had to think. I had to rewrite the story.
yeah. No, no, it wasn't Stasi who killed him. It was, but the point is that he's dead. The boy is dead,
I
and
will
like,
admit the that was not the greatest moment of the Baby Daddy Pirates. Honestly.
oh yeah, the
Look,
party was called the Baby
it
Daddy
was
Pirate.
partially my fault because I put the idea in Sun's head to use create water inside Azul's lungs. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that wasn't what killed him, but again, that's not the point. The point is he died, and like it's not like he was ultra important to the story, but like he's part of the important group.
Yeah.
So
Is that why you decided like you had to rewrite the story?
yeah, and also the fact that he revealed the whole thing about the Pratt's brainwashing and the Rising Roses being good, not bad. Because like I was planning on it for that whole like mystery to be part of the whole campaign, and then like a couple sessions before the final battle, you guys realize, oh my gosh, they're the good guys, and then you got like that whole like, but Pratt, we trusted you. It's like, but then again, you guys didn't trust him.
I had never trusted him.
Yeah,
First of all, we all know how now not all of us, but most of us who were in that campaign know.
I didn't even trust him.
yeah,
You haven't even been in there, yeah.
Yeah.
You weren't even there at first. Um, I want. Can I talk about Crisis for a second?
yeah.
So for Chrono Crisis, my time travel campaign, one of my favorite campaigns at the moment. Um, I planned this out like a long time ago. I think I first pitched it to Lynn. It's like at the beginning of the club, and and like a lot of us have actions because it is level 20, and well, yeah, I think we've seen how it's gone so far. I I think this is the first time in the campaign I've actually like thoroughly planned out all of the places I want to go instead of just like winging it. And well, I think it's going pretty good so far. Just to help, I am co-DMing with another person. We'll call her Midnight for right now, so not just say their real name.
No, no, it was I believe they wanted to be called Siren. Siren and
Sorry,
Midnight
yes, I
Down.
forgot. Hold on, sorry. I was looking at the old script. Yeah, I was looking at the old script. I was on my phone.
You printed it?
I didn't print it. Sorry, not print it. I'm looking at the old script on my phone. Um,
Uh,
yeah, Siren. She's the co-DM of Crisis, and that really helps a lot because I have a lot of weird players, and that includes Zoo,
hey, look,
Cactus
I'm
Man.
I'm not I'm not weird. I just have like very weird characters
You're a
who I like to write.
cactus.
Yeah, 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 exactly. My characters are weird, but I want to develop them in a fun
I
way.
have a way to develop you. Don't worry. And that's the hardest part about make. That's one of the hardest parts of making a story as you're DMing it, or yeah, as you're DMing it, is that you have to find a way to let your characters develop. Otherwise, it just seems like we're on this quest. Okay, and I try to make the stakes as high as possible. Because okay, for the Lost Mines one, they all know the stakes. If they don't succeed, Ragnarok happens, the world ends. But in Crisis, it's even higher. Because if they don't succeed, then the entire universe ends. So in D&D, there's something called the Second Sundering. I think I've told you about this, right, Zoo?
Yeah, the one about the gymnastics and crap.
It's like yeah, not really gymnastics. That's where I remembered, but it's like a spell plague and second sundering were like it's like a split of something. I don't remember what it was, but it was basically kind of like this whole disaster event. I called this one the third sundering because you're splitting all of time and space apart from each other, and that's not good. So my philosophy is, if the more powerful you are, and the more powerful you are in the story, the higher the stakes have to be, because it just doesn't feel right. Like if you're all level 20 and you had to save a kin from a tree, it doesn't feel like it has any meaning. And since you're all level 20, then it has so much more at stake, because everyone you know and love, yeah, even like everyone you'll know and love after today, could be erased from existence. So it gives a lot of tension to the story, right?
Well, I would slightly disagree with you there. It's simply because like characters level up and they change. They
Well, yeah.
like um, you said before like the stakes have to match what level they are. But
No,
like
no, 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 no. Okay, like this.
the
Okay,
beginning of a campaign.
I missed it. That I missed it. That I didn't mean like, if you're level 20, it has to be like universe-ending stuff. No, I mean like because you guys are so powerful, and because like it's like nothing phases you. Well, sort of. It just makes things a lot easier for you. So I wanted to make stuff super hard, and also very high stakes. That's what I mean. Because like I wanted to interest you because you're so powerful. It's like I punched this and the building disappeared now. It's like One Punch Man. I'm giving you something to
Well,
fight for.
you're, you're just because they're level 20, they're very powerful in combat, but doesn't necessarily mean they can just like you like destroy a building just in one punch.
Have you seen Ray, which is
Oh, okay,
one of our
okay, well,
players?
okay, well, let's be. It's. I feel like that's only just because of the way that you want to plan things. For like, I think in general, that's not all level 20 characters are going to be like that powerful.
Oh no,
And
no,
because like I know,
obviously.
because obviously you allow your characters to do that kind of crap
Yeah.
anyways.
Well, what I'm saying is like, I'm one saying is just like for you guys specifically, I like to raise the stakes as high as possible, just because I think it's good storytelling probably because it gives you a sense of purpose, kind of, right? I don't know what the word is, or like the correct term.
Urgency.
Urgency? Yeah, let's go with urgency. Um,
Yeah. Um. Well, for mine, for the rewritten version of Lost Tankard called
Circle of
Circle of
Fire.
Fire, I I want you guys to move or eventually level up to level 20, and then that'll be like the epic. And then once you're level 20, then you'll have the epic final battle with the BBEG,
The BBG,
the B
yes.
bag, and
BBG, yes.
uh, at first I started out your character. But it's another thing like that I want to work on more is like making your character's story appro- more appropriate to what level they are. Because before we were having like we were writing characters that their story did not fit um, the level that they were. Like, for
Yeah.
example, your character Blue Jay, he was apparently like some crazy assassin who like killed a king or something, but he's level 1.
No, we've discussed it, and I thought like I would say he's an assassin, but he's not a very good assassin. Most of his targets get away.
Yeah,
But that
and
was to be revealed
similar
later. No, I'm kidding.
a
Okay, go.
similar situation happened in Lost Tankard. Lynn, she played a character named Euphraias, who was like the captain of a ship. But the thing was, he was only level 3, and that made him the same level as. Well, actually, no, that's a different case. But yeah. Anyway, Euphraias, he was still like he's supposedly the captain of a ship, like an actual pirate ship. So you would assume that he would be a very powerful individual, but no, he's only level 3. And the thing
Speaking of
is,
which.
Another thing that might have to do a bit of work on, and this is like something that it depends on what you think, but like if there are two characters who are like very different, where their story makes them two very different experience levels, maybe you could have it where one is like lower level than the other. For because again, Euphraias, he's the captain of the ship,
I think that
so
works.
you would
Yeah.
assume he's very experienced. But all of the characters in Lost Tankard were level 3, and that would make Euphraias the experienced character the same level as Percival, who is a very inexperienced knight.
I think
He's like a rookie sort of knight.
I think the problem also came from when you played low, because from his backstory, he's like this. He's like a soldier kind of warrior thing that worked with
Well, no, like the thing is, like he's still learning. I mean, he's like a prodigy, but he's not a master.
I guess yeah, that does make sense. But yeah, I would expect like a higher what level did they were all level 1, I think, when they first met you. So I think okay, I guess it works. I guess that works.
Yeah, well, at that time we were just it was sort of like messing around. I was like a guest character, so I didn't actually.
Yeah,
Oh,
I guess
actually, no. They were level 1, but I was level 3 because we agreed that low was like more powerful. Plus, I'm like the assistant character, so to speak.
that is true. Yeah,
I
I
was the
guess.
assistant character for that episode.
And you're not
That was
first.
just our decision. If
Yeah,
you ever have a guest character, just make them the same level as your players. It's easier
I
to think about.
suppose. Okay. I guess that works. I guess that works out. Okay. Um. So okay, let's have a Dingus talk about some of his story ideas because I know he has a lot.
Bro, okay. Have you ever? This weirds me out. Have you ever been in a D&D campaign, or if you've ever played a video game that's open world?
Yeah.
Have you ever found it weird that you could come up to someone on a random sidewalk and you could ask them a random question, and they're able to answer it, like, "Yo, what's the government like here?" And they're able to answer it
With
in full detail,
full detail, 3 paragraphs,
3 paragraphs,
single
space.
spaced. I have found that weird.
Singles.
Yes. What about it?
Because it happens a lot, at least in Skyrim.
I thought you were gonna talk about your story ideas.
I mean, it happens in some campaigns too.
Your story ideas.
I just want to get that out.
Can you share some of your story ideas now?
Okay, let's see. I think I already talked about some
You talked about some of your campaigns we haven't
in the
explained.
last episode, right?
Yeah, but why don't you talk about like the way you're developing, like how you develop like a storyline for your campaigns?
Oh, that's weird because it's kind of different from like writing a novel. For an example.
Okay. How about this? Is your way of story writing kind of like a linear kind of thing, where it's like the players can get from point A to point B in a straight line, or is it kind of like a multiple options thing where you could go point A to point B, but there's also this path, or is it like you're just winging it?
I think what you said, like there's a plot,
Yeah,
and then there's like a objective at the end, but doesn't matter. But I don't have a plan on how that's gonna happen.
it's more like are you winging it, or do you like having kind of a plan for most of it?
Yeah,
You like having a plan for most of it, but what about winging it? Do you like yeah, it's like does that happen a lot?
I've never DM'd.
That is true. I forgot about that. But if you were to DM, do you think you would wing it more?
Of course, I try.
You try.
Yes.
Um. So, like, what's the campaign that you've written the most about right now?
The hotel.
Oh yeah, the hotel. I want to do that one still.
You know what? Funny story. It originally was a fan fiction.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? About what?
I'm not saying.
Oh, you're gonna keep it a mystery, huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it a mystery because
Fortnite.
listening.
God damn it, man!
Zoozibble.
Huh?
Our
You
names.
said my
We'll
bra
we'll have to
moment.
bleep that later, okay?
Oh,
Your
gotta
bra
bleep
moment.
that out.
We'll replace it with a recording of like something.
I'm just gonna say Fortnite and then paste it over that.
Yeah, get a separate file and say Fortnite. You know what this means? You know what this means? Now you have to go through this amount of editing. You had to watch through this editing, and you have to find that specific timestamp.
Man,
It should be around 20, 30-ish minute mark
Oh,
because
look.
I can't tell you because Fortnite's listening.
turn you into Fortnite.
34. Don't worry, we'll like cut that part out. Okay, so where were we? Oh yeah, well, so it was a. You said it was a fan fiction.
Yeah, it was a fan fiction. Then I realized there's no way I'm making this into an actual story. So,
You might as well make it into a campaign.
yeah,
What
basically.
what do I feel like? Oh, actually, no, I'm not gonna say what it is. I don't know what it is, but I feel like I know
Go
what
take
it
a gander. Don't. Why don't you?
Because it's hotel. I have two ideas. It's either a Hotel Transylvania, which is the only hotel I actually know besides like Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Why would I make a fan fiction for Hotel Transylvania?
I don't know, but
I mean,
there's also
some people use D&D to just live out, or any tabletop RPG. They just use it to live out their fantasies.
exactly okay, or is it the has been hotel thing? Because I've never seen that.
No, this was before that pilot was made.
Okay, okay. How much of the hotel have you written?
It's weird because like most of it was written when I was conceptualizing it as a novel, but like now I have to like reconceptualize it as a D&D campaign.
I think you could translate it pretty. I think you could translate it pretty well. Um, it is a lot of parts could use some work if it's from a novel that you were writing. But I think you could probably like while the campaign's happening, you could like go to parts that you haven't done yet and do it. That's what I'm doing at least.
Yes.
Yes. Um, how would you so Zoo, how would you plan stuff for yeah, how would you plan stuff for writing?
Plan stuff. Well,
Say you're planning a character development moment. Say it like that.
character development moment. Well, it would depend on how far are we in the campaign, and we've only gone to like the beginning parts of campaign so far. So, uh, for beginning for beginning developments, I would I sucked at them before because that one thing. But like for beginning ones, I would start with like what's it? Uh, brain fart.
Brain
So
fart?
like yeah, no, we like started off with like very important details to that character's story. So like you know like oh actually I mean I'm not going to tell you how it's important,
Okay.
but in our last session of Circle of Fire, Sazzy came across a Warforged head, and you know how I had like everybody leave the voice call
I did
so that I
notice
could
that.
like do a one-on-one. And thing is, you don't have to do that for like every single situation where characters are separate. I would only do those for like very important story things. So like because like it the characters that are in that character development moment should really feel like it's their moment. So if there's a moment where there's story development and two characters are having it in private, then it really should be private. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think okay, so like Sun did this to us back in the original Lost Mines. She would have us like leave the room so she could like talk to one of our players one on one. And I remember it being like a really long conversation too. Yeah.
Why does that happen again?
Yep.
For like story reasons, dingus.
So next time we do that on voice call, what I really should do is just have the individual players I want to have um, in that secret moment. just bring them out and put them in like put them in like a PM, because it was kind of awkward for me to ask you guys to just leave. It'd be easier if you were just like still in the call talking to each other
That is
while
true.
like
That's
while
usually
yeah
what I do with some of my players, like Cry for instance, or like Osiris. I'll just like text them something like a private information, or maybe nudge
yeah
them a little bit in the direction I want them to go.
yeah. I would say that like for small details, DMing a message is fine, but like in like major moments, I would say that it has to be you would have to be leaving the room.
Yeah. Would you like? Would you try
So,
to nudge your character? Would you try to nudge your players to like a certain direction you want to go for a story?
oh yeah, absolutely, because like that's the story that I've sort of written out. But I
Yeah.
still want the story to have a little bit of individuality. So like I'll adjust it to like the character to make sure that the characters are like fitting in based on their current mood, what's happened so far, all that.
I would give him I would give him like a hint of like what I would give him like a hint of what I want them to do, but I would tell them, but I wouldn't tell them how to do it like specifically. I would say try to be nice to this character, and like if they so choose to they'll be nice to them, and that'll be I think that will work
Yeah.
out, right?
Um. Well, I think it's fine for like beginners, but like once once you, because like sometimes if you play with a certain group enough, you'll start to like know the sort of play styles of those characters,
Yeah, yeah,
so of those players. So like if you've been DM'd by a person enough times, then like then at some point you might like sort of get their cues, and you'll know when to what you'll know which things they would want you to do, like sort of subconsciously.
yeah, yeah. Do
Yeah, and so going back to the leaving the room thing, uh, I if I had known that you were gonna do like a dream sequence, then I would have recommended that you brought
Osiris.
damn. If I knew you were going cut that part out. If I knew you were going to do a dream sequence, I would have recommended that you bring the player out of the room to like do like the private thing, because like revealing that it's fine, but it's a cool thing, but like I feel like there should have been a secret moment. Then now like Elaine has to personally think, well, what should I do? And then all the other players are absolutely clueless.
Yeah, that was a mistake I probably should have done,
Yeah,
but I didn't think like I probably should have let I have everyone leave the room because I don't know if that was like appropriate for this case. Because
yeah,
like I think the tensions were pretty high at that point. Not really, but it's like everyone was just kind of relaxing, and I didn't want to like give him a lot of tension for like. So y'all have to leave the room now, because they don't trust me enough as if I'm pretty evil. So yeah.
yeah. You are infinitely corrupt.
Speaking of being evil, I like to say that I'm evil a lot, but like I think a lot of DMs like to say they're evil a lot, right?
Yeah,
But secretly,
obviously.
secretly we want the character development so badly.
Yeah, we're just infinitely evil. And you know what else is evil? The bad guys of this week's sponsor. Roll the clip. Oh wait, we don't have a sponsor.
Yeah, but
Well,
I'll fix
anyways,
it.
back to the conversation.
It's,
So,
yeah, my players don't trust me enough, so I had to balance it a little bit, so I can't really ask them, can you guys leave the room? Or
well, getting back to the whole like leaving the room thing. That's why, yeah, I mean, you're feeling like yeah, it's kind of evil. But the thing is, like, I feel uh, like these characters having secrets is important to building tension to the story. And with the whole leaving the room thing, I would recommend that you just that that you, the DM, and the players and the players that you want to secret DM leave the room, and everybody else stays in the call. Because if you make everybody who isn't supposed to be there leave the call, then it's kind of a downer because like now they're left in the dark. They have to they can't talk to each other instead of so
I will fix this.
yeah.
I do have another thing that will come up that does require probably only one person to hear it, so it should be fine. I
We're
could probably make
fine.
enough for myself.
We're gonna be fine, and I
Sure,
know it's
whatever helps you
gonna
sleep at night.
be. I mean, I wasn't planning on sleeping anyways,
That's
and
fair.
I
Yeah,
know it's
that's
gonna
fair.
be a long, long time.
It's not like we sleep anyways.
Yeah, 3 a.m. vibe
3
session,
a.m. vibe session.
and I know it's gonna be a long, long time till touchdown brings me back again to find. Um, no, no, no,
That's enough. That's
no.
enough. That's enough. That's enough. So okay, um, I think is that all we got for stories, or do you got something a little more?
That might just in fact be it for the stories we've made so far, but we gotta make more stories in the future. You feel? You dig?
Yes. Well, I think you've had enough to drink tonight, buddy. Why don't you go home?
I'm Zuzibble, the man who stabs his friends a lot.
I'm Doc, the harbinger of the Jelly Cube.
And I'm Dingus, and I let the mic fall down for a reasonable reason.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Yes, goodbye.
Don't worry, we're
Don't
all on your
worry.
tab.